To butterfly, the process of grief and what it takes to truly expand your life beyond grief and through grief and with grief. This live is going to be so special. I am bringing on an incredible soul. She is here today, Alisa, and what we're going to be talking about is an incredible event that she has put together, a live event that is going to be happening in Tacoma, Washington in June. And this event is unlike any other because what's really happening is the journey of grief. What she has created is an entire 3-phase, 9-step journey that truly helps you through your grief journey. And this grief is not just losing maybe somebody that you loved. It can be in so many different areas of your life. And today we're going to be talking about what this really means, what it looks like to go through this journey, and also introducing you to Cocoon to Butterfly, this live event that will be happening. Hello, everyone that's coming in. Drop a hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And I am going to bring on stage a phenomenal soul in one moment. Let's see if she's coming on. Hello, beautiful.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Adjust my. It's so interesting when it goes on IG and then it's like different. So I'm adjusting.
Oh my goodness. Hello everyone in the chat. Hi Jess. Okay, so Alyssa, please introduce yourself to the community. Let everyone know who you are, and then we're gonna dive into the juicy stuff that we want to talk about.
Well, first of all, so much gratitude for you to have me on your platform and just share Cocoon to Butterfly. I mean, in a nutshell, I'm just a conduit, a guide for this movement. I lost my husband 2.5 years ago. It'll be 3 years in August. And it was then that I literally died myself inside. And I went through the process of Cocoon to Butterfly myself, and then having no intention of basically curating this movement. I did go very like frontal on Facebook. I used it like a diary, and it was really the most selfish thing I ever did for myself in my entire life. But then I realized as I was getting messages from everyone privately that it was the most selfless thing that I could have done was actually go public with. I mean, I was raw. It was not pretty, and I often would say it's okay that I'm not okay. And I would say I'm unwell. That was kind of my quote, like I'm unwell today. And so I'm gonna hunker in and I didn't know at the time, but basically go into my cocoon and and learn more about how everything that I needed was actually within me. And that's literally what the Cocoon to Butterfly movement does is you go from grief, and that's the first stage, all the way to freedom, which is living your authentic self, and that's the ninth stage. uh, it 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 is something that you will likely, if you decide that you want to keep looking at grief and being curious about it, you'll go through a series of Cocoon to Butterflies your entire life. It's like the death to rebirth. So yeah, I mean, that's how I would love to just introduce myself. There's lots more facets to me, but this is what I'm here for, is for the rest of my life to guide this movement of Cocoon to Butterfly, because it will ascend consciousness, which is what was my greatest awakening to the embodiment of this human experience that I'm moving forward after the death of my husband.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to dive in more about what Cocoon to Butterfly really is. And before I do that, I want to talk about how we met. So last year in December, and how this came to be, like he was saying, like I didn't think of this movement in the beginning, and it came into fruition, and it's so beautiful in the way this is happening. But in December, both Alyssa and I, we were in Brazil at a retreat, and we got to know each other and immediately connected. And I was talking about, my grief journey of losing my dad in 2021 to COVID, and what, how that led me just 8 months later launching my business, and how so much of my journey since then has been, supporting women all over the world to heal through generational cycles, but also I attracted so many people that were grieving in their own lives because they saw how I took that grief and I continued to move forward, continued to be relentless. And it's not, I think the grief journey is one that we carry with us. There's not, I don't think there's like a pinnacle, like a point in time where it's like, oh, it's done. We're great and everything. It's just like really how to continue living, and in an abundant, loving way, not in the sorrows and stuff, but really carrying that forward. And I know Alyssa and I, like, we connected so much there. And when you reached out to me later to tell me about Cocoon to Butterfly and the live event, it was like I was so honored to even be a part of this. So I want to ask you, like, what is, we kind of already heard a little bit about the why, but tell us a little bit more about Cocoon to Butterfly and this, 9-step, 3-phase journey, and what this really means to be a part of that.
Yeah. So in Brazil, I had a dream within a dream of the live event. And so I kind of want to circle back to
Yes.
that. And I don't know that I even shared it with you, Samaya, at the
No,
time, right? I don't,
no.
yeah. I think I went home because my new thing is to just sit with it and have a conversation with these downloads that I get. Because the old me would have dived right in, deep into the pool. Let's do this, blinders on. And this new internally ascended version of this human experience that I'm walking through is listening to the signs and synchronicities and then moving forward one step, staircase at a time instead of this is the end result and now I'm diving in reverse engineering my calendar blocking all the action, so to answer your question, how this came to fruition is obviously I went through the experience myself, and as I was going very, just very authentically online, mostly on Facebook, and then I moved a little bit over to Instagram, and now I do a lot more on Instagram than Facebook. Uh, I found that people really followed me to help them heal their journey
Mm,
of grief. And like you said, it wasn't just from a death. It was grieving being an empty nester, like, oh,
yeah.
now all my children are out of the house, or a job loss, like my sister, who during the pandemic, she had given 28 years of her life to this company that was a well national company. Like she had security and this was who she was,
Mm,
and they let her go in a 10-minute Zoom and it destroyed her, and
mm,
that was a death and rebirth. And she had to go through several before and she's still not living her authentic work self, but she's finally coming to the place where she's honoring her own internal
mm,
authenticity because her
mm,
work kept her from living her own personal authenticity because she was working
yeah.
and that was her identity.
Right.
So with grief, that's the layer that I've come to, I guess, realize in the last 6 months as I've been moving forward in this movement is explaining to the collective that grief can come in all sorts of forms. And honestly, we grieve every
Yeah.
day. If we really are in tune to what's going on, there is a grief, and we were programmed, at least because I'm 53, so I'm aging myself, but the Gen Xers are programmed to be like, hey, grief is something you acknowledge, but then you freaking get the blinders on and you pummel through, you get your bootstraps up and you go forward
Mm,
because that is nothing you're going to focus on. Like, no.
mm,
And so with the death of David, I made myself because I knew that I was just trying to breathe without being in pain. And so the cocoon formed, and then I learned, oh my gosh, like to sit in grief or any emotion that's not serving us going forward is the first thing.
yeah.
Is to sit in it, acknowledge it, almost like have a like speak to it, have a conversation with it, and just okay, what is it I'm learning about myself today? And so it is literally lifting off the layers because you are whole. There's nothing you need fixed inside of like there. We really don't need to be fixed. We need to be found. We need to find who we are. And so that's what Cocoon to Butterfly is, and why it became uh, it became life, and now its movement is to raise consciousness. And
Mm,
so through the frequency of grief, giving people tools and equipping them so that they can process every day as they get triggered or challenged. It's almost like it's kind of
mm,
fun now. It's like, oh,
mm,
that hit me. Like,
yeah.
oh, I get to learn a little bit more about myself. Yay.
Right. I think one thing that you really brought into surface for me. So when I would think of grief, it was always like you lost somebody, right? Somebody that you loved. And I remember our first Zoom call that we did to talk about the Cocoon to Butterfly, the live event, and everyone was sharing their different forms of grief, and I was like, wow, like for me it was like I was so like focused on this is the grief that we all talk about if we lost someone, but there's so many different forms of this grief, like you were saying, like the losing a job after 28 plus years, or different things, like some of them were talking about like animals or pets that they've had, and like all these different, I was like, wow, there is so many different forms of grief that I don't even think a lot of people are aware of, right? And I think that that's what's beautiful about this movement, that it's not just losing a loved one. There's even like our old identities is one thing that we were talking about in the Zoom, of like the as we're evolving and we're shedding these old layers of ourselves, whether we're breaking free from gender. I'm like getting chills talking about this, but like as we're like peeling back the layers and breaking free from generational cycles, or anything, when we're doing, that's also a form of grief, of like letting that go. And sometimes people are so afraid to even do that that they don't even evolve, right, or allow themselves to continue moving forward. So um where do we want to move from here? Like I want to kind of like talk about, I don't know if you want to do that, but like kind of talk a little bit about the three phases and what it looks like in Conclude Butterfly, if you want to kind of dive into that.
Yeah, so kind of without like going too, because it's
Yeah.
pretty deep. Basically, the three phases have three stages, and
Yes.
so I created this because David and I were very systematic business owners. We were very systematic entrepreneurs. So I think there's parts of who I was with him are still moving forward in the way of honoring this movement. And so it was natural to do a system. So it's a progressive system. And there's 9 stages, so 3 stages with the first phase, then there's 3 with the second, and then the last one is basically your internal ascension. You found your gifts and you're actually living in
Mm,
your gifts and you're sharing them with the world. And when I was in Brazil, the dream within the dream is I saw this spider web, and what true source God, our creator, was telling me, because I had been very adamant about like I'm going to help people find their gifts and then help them build businesses out of it, because that's also like David and I had 6 businesses together. It's very easy
mm,
for me to create businesses and understand the IGAs and the KPIs and all the things to make it moving forward, uh, and then systemize it, so you're not like in the business, you're of the business, but you still have a life outside of the business. So anyway, that was a natural thing to do with Cocoon to Butterfly. But what God gave me as the download is, Alisa, this is going to heal families, heal
mm,
workspaces. And yes, some of them will go on and create businesses that then, make ripple effects, but they all matter. That spider web can only be the beautiful spider web with every single, line.
mm,
And so it was there that I realized, oh my gosh, like how important it is to meet people where they're at. And then as they go through the stages, uh, some stages they might get through pretty quickly because
mm,
that's their internal ascension. But then they'll hit the part where it's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to pummel through this or tunnel through. So yes, it's built in a 9-week experience, but it is made for you to sit on the weeks that you need to
mm,
sit. And yet then you can move forward in this very, it's very easy to follow along. There's a video tutorial and it's free to the collective. So like that's the
yeah.
first thing that came down to me is like, Alisa, you will be giving this to humanity as a free way for them to understand how to um, alchemize emotions. And of course,
Mm,
mine was focused at first on grief, but there's hatred, jealousy, all of those are low forms that if we learn how to alchemize them, we're not supposed to be like, oh, I feel bad and wrong because I'm
yeah.
jealous. No, you
Yeah.
actually like are like, why am I jealous? Oh, that's so
Mm,
interesting. That's so interesting. You learn that about
yeah.
yourself. So in the free version, basically I put you into the community and then you go through the videos on your own at your own time. And then there's also a Cocoon to Butterfly box experience that you can have mailed to the privacy of your own home, because some people want to do this on their own. They don't want to do it around other people. Like they literally like, this is private, this is for me. So the box will be delivered to your home, and then you follow the 9 stages with these videos at your own pace. the goal is not to be at 9 weeks. It's just a 9 week program.
Hmm.
But you could sit in the weeks for as long as you want.
Right.
You could also shove the box away and be like, this is the most triggering thing I've ever imagined. Da, da, da. And then you'll come back to it when you're ready. So
Yeah.
like the timeline is your own timeline.
Mm.
And then the live event is literally if you want to actually attend, where we're building community of other people, like-minded people that are also wanting to raise consciousness. So that's kind of like the internal ascension, that we're all here. We're all here to raise consciousness. We just might not be awakened to it yet. But when you live in your, when you step into your gifts, we all have gifts.
Yes.
As soon as we step into them and then we share them, it doesn't have to be with tens of thousands of people, or like what you're being a conduit for and I'm being a conduit for. We're having to step into these massive, big shoes that, yes, it's a big responsibility, but it is our mission. It's our soul's
Yes.
purpose. It
Mm.
is no more, it does not matter more than somebody that is going to go home and heal their family lineage of ancestral indoctrination and pain and suffering by going home and learning how to frequency adjust in their house. Like,
Yeah.
it all is as important. And so I hope that I answered your question, and
Yes.
basically like that's it. That's kind of what I wanted to share. And then if it speaks to you, you know you're going to be a part of the movement in some way.
Hmm.
There, and that's why I have all these different entry points of entering, because the live event, obviously we live in a 3D world where things cost money. I have to pay for the event, so obviously the ticket prices, for your tribe, I have a
Yeah.
discount for them, because you've just opened up your I call them tribes, but I'm not sure what you call your people, but the people that are drawn to your movement.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a heavy discount for that if you want to do the live event. And yeah, and so that's it in a nutshell, is just three phases. And at the end, you're going to end up being your authentic self and knowing how you're going to ascend consciousness, because we all matter.
Hmm.
It's all important for us to do this.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I do have the box. And what I love about this journey too, like you said, like, yes, it's a 9 week journey, but the timeline is your own, right? And then that's true about our grief. And I know I've shared this with you personally, but in my own home, we were all grieving that same man, right? It was all grieving my dad, but my mother was grieving differently, right? She's grieving a soulmate, her best friend, like my siblings, like even though it was the same person, our timelines looked different and the way we were processing this was different. And so I love how Cocoon to Butterfly really holds that truth of like, yes, we have these phases, yes, we have these steps, yes, we have these modules, but again, sit in the weeks that you need to sit, go fast in the weeks that it comes easy to you, and it's just your own phase and process, which is beautiful. And I want you to kind of touch on the live event that's happening in June and what it's going to look like to really bring this movement in person, and why you decided to bring this in person.
Yeah. Well, I've been like on a lot of lives with with other people, and when I go to this part, it's so funny because I have to honor my authenticity of how this was the dream of the dream. I actually was like, really, like David and I did this. We did live events. I don't know, really, God, like I'm not really sure if this is what I want to do. Be on stage again, and you know. I really love my private life now and what I've created, because David and I were so public. I
Hmm.
mean, the Mullers was the brand, and we were all over the world traveling. We had vlogging, like all the things. And I was like, I love this. Like, I only get to share my life with the people that I want to share it with. And
Yeah.
so then, of course, you go through those stages of honoring that. And then you're like, okay, but this is a movement that can't be kept secret. It can't be kept
Mm.
behind closed doors or only for certain people. And so the live event, there's going to be 12 speakers. And as I shared before, there's 9 stages. So each of them will take one of the stages of the box. You'll come to the live event. You'll pick up your Cocoon to Butterfly box, and in the room over 2 days' time, we will go through each of the stages. And what I love about the download that I got of this is how many of you guys have been to events where you feel amazing, and then you get back to the real world, and you're like, wait, I missed that feeling. I want it back. I want it back. And so, because of my coaching experience of my previous life, I received the message of you're going to leave them with modalities. And of course,
Mm.
I'm not an expert in the field of breath work or sound bowl healing or, tapping or, channeling. Like I'm somewhat gifted in each of those things, but I'm not the guide in that. I'm not the expert in that field. So day by day, say I was introduced or received downloads of reaching out to people, and some I didn't know. Some were through a person, like a gate, a door opener, if you will. And each of them are already living in those gifts and sharing them with the collective. They're experts in that field. So they'll be going through the stage of the box as we all open up, each of the stages, and then they'll be leaving the audience with actual real modalities. So you'll know, oh my gosh, breath work is my thing. Like it healed me in the room, or sound bowl healing. I had never, honestly, never sound bowl healed. Now, David did, which I thought was fascinating. Before he died, he was like into all these things. And I was like, who is this woo woo hippie 60s guy I married? But now I know he internally ascended, which is why he birthed out of his body. He's still here, but he's in terms of the energy outside of his body, his physical body. And so, so they'll leave the event having been introduced to all sorts of modalities for healing. And when I say healing, I mean finding you, like your home, because that's the healing. It's not you coming to the event and maybe you're aligned with Dr. Angela. Like Dr. Angela is already a doctor in the field of medicine and healing in Chinese medicine, and she'll be one of the speakers. It's not. Yes, you can hire her and she can help you, but what you're going to find is everything you have is within you. You just need a little guide who's an expert in the fields that are touching your ascension and helping you move. And we talk about like leveling up, or I used to tell people like live your highest evolved self, become a better version of yourself each day. Now I talk about just get to know yourself. If you get to know who you are, everything that you have is within you, and you eternally ascend. It's no race. It's not competition with somebody else, and it's not even competition with yourself. It's literally meeting yourself. Now I feel like I'm on a rant because I got to follow up with this one. But the one thing that I really was shocked about learning about myself, that I would have like probably fought somebody if they told me I was this before my David was alive, is the codependency. Like I was the most hyper vigilant, independent female. I could do all the things. I wasn't a cook, but I could hire the best cook. Like I could get it done, right? And so what I realized through my own, going back, I burnt down everything that I was with David as the Mullers, because that was a couple. Like I couldn't be Alisa Muller anymore. That was my married name. But I also couldn't be Alisa Cooper, which was who I was before I married him. I honored all the versions of me that came before the death of David. And I burnt everything down and then started to rebuild. And what I found is the patterns that showed up. I literally had never had a meal alone. I literally had never been alone I don't think I ever spent the night alone, because I was with my family. Then I was with my first husband. I had my daughter, and in between marriages, my daughter was with me. I was only not married for 1 year in between marriages. I literally dated to marry. So my first thing out the gate was like, I'm going to cut this pattern. Boom. Doot, 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 And what I drew in was a very beautiful man, an amazing soul. He mirrored a lot of what I did not realize wasn't healed within me. And I'm so grateful for our relationship and our friendship. And I also learned how, even though we weren't girlfriend and boyfriend, it was still a codependent relationship. Like we were doing all the things like a married couple or a girlfriend boyfriend would do, except for the parts that were more of intimate. But we still were very intimate. We would have deep dive talks. I would take him and his daughter. We would go on trips together. And I had to have an honest, like almost like intervention, if you will, but it was healthy, of like, okay, is this a healthy codependency? And at the end, you know, parts of it weren't serving my internal ascension growth, but then parts were, and I wasn't willing to let those go because they were a part of honoring and being in gratitude of the friendship that we had built. And I believe that our friendship is what's creating this new world of you can love somebody at the highest caliber of love and not be their spouse. But I was discovering how I was holding on to the things that made me feel comfortable, warm, that were all a part of that codependency. So, I mean, this just unraveled in the last couple months for me. So, again, Cocoon to Butterfly, never fails. I'm constantly going through the night stages.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that too. You mentioned this in the beginning too of like it's not just like, you go through it once and then that's it. It's like this is something that you can continuously, go through throughout your journey in your life. I want to talk a little bit about, so I am one of the speakers, so announcement to everybody watching this, which has been like honestly again so honored to be a part of this because my entire journey and like what I do and even my own movement and my brand has a lot, it really goes back to this grief, right? This grief journey that I am now alchemizing and doing what I'm doing with it, creating it into gold and spreading it out through the universe. And so being a part of Cocoon to Butterfly is like, part of my life's work. I feel like this is so beautifully aligned. And so I'm so grateful that, got that download and received that download to allow me to be a part of this. So I kind of want to like touch a little bit, if you want to, of my part in this and like how I'm going to be in that last phase and what that really looks like when the audience and everyone gets to this last phase of Cocoon to Butterfly.
So by the time that you're speaking part, which by the way, I just want to say thank you for saying yes because you're going to be in Greece at the time.
Yes.
So you're basically she's going to come on live, and we obviously like made some prerequisites in case the Wi-Fi is not well and stuff. So she'll have some pre-recordings, but I'm just so grateful that you said yes because you could have easily said no because like being in Greece, come on, like that's amazing. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And then, so by the time that third phase comes up, what God gave me is this download from True Source, our creator, is that by the time you're in stage 6, which is the end of the second phase, it's kind of like what I've not been through AA, but it's kind of like what I would picture AA when you're like, man, I'm healed. I feel so good.
Mm,
But you're not actually truly ready to be around people that drink. So that's what
mm,
what the end of the second phase will be, and your part is in that third phase when they're basically, I call it peopling, but they'll be going into, now we're going to be in a container of 2 days, so obviously like this isn't what they're experiencing live, but when they actually go and live the Cocoon to Butterfly phases, and stages outside, this is what they're going to feel. They're going to start peopling again, and they're going to be around people that trigger them because these people are going to look at them like the crab pot theory. I don't know if you know the crab pot, you know, theory,
tell
but
me.
basically crabs are in a pot, and the crab that wants to get out of the pot is like, I want to escape, I want to live, and the other crabs are like, no, it's
Oh,
scary out there, and they're pulling the crabs down. Do it. Like it literally is true. Like that's what crabs do, and they're meeting it in love. They're meeting it like they're not trying to be toxic. And so this is the part of the end of the phase 2 going into phase 3, and unless they have true modalities that are living within their cells, even if they're just a beginner,
mm,
they will feel, I would say, almost deflated. Like, who am I to be living this authentic like life? Who am I
mm,
to be this happy? Who am I to be living in this joy? Because
mm,
these people that were a part of your life before are going to be a constant reminder of who you were before, and you have to
mm,
reintroduce yourself to them. So your part, Samaya, is going to be basically giving them the tools through, and we talked about maybe tapping or manifestation works that you were going
hypnosis.
to do.
Yeah.
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 So you'll be doing that with them, and so they'll have that in their arsenal for when that happens. Because what God told me is like, this is when people are going to probably not finish Cocoon to Butterfly, but they'll be back
Yeah.
because they'll be like, oh gosh, like I thought I was ready, but I'm not quite ready.
Hmm.
And so yes, so you'll be almost like going through school, like maybe I would say between middle school and high school, because that age you think I got all
I
this.
got,
Like
yeah.
I am the adult in the room. I'm talking to my friends. I know all the things. And then you get to high school and you get schooled. Like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, what? What just happened?
You're right. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And I want to invite everyone to this event. So I would love for you to really touch on when this is happening, where this is happening, and also, we'll dive into how they can actually
Yeah.
get tickets to this event.
So it's June 28th and 29th, and it is just south of Seattle, Washington. It's at a city called Tacoma. It's at the Tacoma Convention Center. And basically, if you want to get live tickets, we could drop it down below, and then we'll give you Samaya's code for the 50% off to be in the room. And then if you're not able to make the live, but you're still feeling like this is something that I want to do, I can share my handle, and then you can just go onto my Instagram and kind of like go through. There's, a web link that, if you want to do the free version, I can get you into the community. If you want to have the box delivered, there's a way for you to join then. I'm also going to be opening up, which again is like, I'm fully embodying this movement, but I was a little resistant at first because I've done a lot of this before in my previous
Mm,
life, and I was a little resistant because it is a huge responsibility. And my life was like in that place. I felt like, oh, it's complete. I can live for another 40 years and be fine. And but when you step into a movement, you're like, you have to say yes to the things that are even more uncomfortable for you. Not that you have to rise in them, but you've already done them and you're like, okay, I know what this is going to be like. But so what I want to say is I'm announcing, basically I will be a guide for 12 people weekly for the 9-week journey of
wow.
the Cocoon to Butterfly box after the event. And so I'm really actually so excited about it because I know some people are going to need that
Yeah.
guide. Some people won't, but some people will want that guide, and it will help raise consciousness. I don't want to say faster because time is an illusion, but it will calibrate. If I can help people individually learn how to internally ascend throughout their day, and yes, you're going to get triggered, yes, you're going to get challenged, but if you can learn that this is about learning about you, this isn't about that other person. You don't need to fix them, coach them. You don't even need to, like, yeah, maybe you need to use your throat chakra to step, to speak up for yourself, but then it's done. Then you go back to introspective, like, okay, what did that teach me?
Yeah.
And who am I now that I've done that
Mm,
work, now that I've done that step. And so I'm really excited about launching that because I feel like that's part of this movement that I didn't see. It's
yes.
that stair step approach, you know.
Mm,
And then if you feel called to be a guide, that's the next phase, is I'll be training people, certifying them to be Cocoon to Butterfly guides.
guides. Oh my
Yeah.
God. This is so incredible. This is so exciting. And I think even like the 12 people that are going to get to experience that, like in that small cohort, like it's really needed, right? Like especially when we're going through this grieving journey, I think community is such a huge component to this of it gets lonely when you're trying to like handle this all on your own behind, inside the same four walls that you're in. But really having a guide that has done the work and going through the phases that you've already curated for them and having you lead that for them after the event, I think is so powerful for them to really take home and implement and really understand what it looks like beyond the event that we're going to do live. So I kind of want to wrap this up by talking about who the live event, who is this really for, and really calling them forward to join.
Yeah. My old self would have said it's for everybody because it's really
Yeah.
for humanity. But honestly, it's if you feel aligned with this, and it's not like, oh, I'm ready to do the work. It's literally like, I'm really curious about
Mm,
this. There's something inside of me that is sparking, and I don't need to know everything about it. I just know that I either need to be in the room or I need to check out this 9-stage video system or the box, whatever hit you. Be curious about that. And I'm definitely open to, like, I've got a ton of DMs throughout the last 2 days that I've been going on people's social media. I'm here for you. Like, I
mm,
can answer the questions. I can help you dive deep to see which one works for you. And so, yeah, so the live event would be definitely like you're open to go through it with energies around you,
yeah.
so who it's, can I like talk about who it's not for? It's not for somebody that doesn't want to be in the room with other people that are going to be going through their own Cocoon to Butterfly movement. For some people that's a no right out the gate. So if that's it, then the live event is not for you, and that's
Mm,
okay.
yeah.
But I think it is for definitely the people that are like, I can't do this
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
I want, and I already saw in the Dream of the Dream that people will leave the event bonded with 2 or 3 people that they will be like going through life with. Like, it'll be a
Mm,
community that they weren't born into, that they're not socially, economically, around because of work and all the other things.
yeah.
It will be purposeful uniting of
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. I think I just want to add this in too of like you and I know this, when we're in live events, the energy, like the way we shift at a cellular and subconscious level, it happens at a quantum speed because we're physically there in the flesh. And so I think if, you know, if that calls to you of like, yeah, I want to really experience this, like with my physical body and my mind really being there, I would say, you know, join the event. And my DMs are also open. If you want to be a part of this live experience, DM me the word butterfly. And like Alyssa said, I have a special discount code for you all to join the experience. But also, there is so many different ways for you to be a part of this movement, like Alyssa mentioned. So if the live event isn't something, but you still know that you want to be a part of Cocoon to Butterfly, please do DM Alyssa. She's gonna, you know, maybe ask you questions and see where you fit in and what would be the best way for you to be a part of this, because you know, Alyssa has done such a great job that she's not just keeping it like, okay, this is the only way for you to experience this. There's so many different ways that she has opened this space up because, like she said, she does want, you know, we are here, we want to be the conduits to really, you know, bring this world to the masses. But again, we understand that this is, again, there's different ways for you to be a part of the movement. So reach out to Alyssa. And if you want to be a part of the live event, DM me the word butterfly and I'll give you that special link to join us there live. Alyssa, I am so excited and I am so grateful to God that, you know, you not just received the download, but you really answered the call, right? You received the calling, you answered the call, and you're going. And thank you for also bringing so many incredible souls to this live experience to, you know, really be these guides in different forms and helping the masses find of like, okay, which of these pathways is really calling to me that's really going to help me ascend and continue moving forward. This is incredible work. I feel like this is God's work, and I am just so proud and happy for you and so grateful to be a part of this,
Thank
truly.
you. And I'm term am so grateful for you doing the work that you do. You just make such a positive mark on this world, you know. And I think that's, if you're listening to this and you know follow Samaya, or you're going to be new to following me, you're going to, I think, start bringing in more and more people that are going to help you see that you are here to do the same. Maybe not at the level or the movement level, because that's scary and that's not your thing. That's perfectly great, but you're going to know your part of raising consciousness and really just sharing unconditional love to the world and to humanity, because that's what's going to heal this world. And when my
Yes.
husband said that before he died, because I was in the trenches of all the conspiracy theories, you
Yeah.
know, like, oh my God, we have to fight for you know, not that we shouldn't fight for the child trafficking that's going on, but that was where
Right.
my house was, because my whole prior life was about children, and still is about, you know, children, but not in the way that it was. And David said to me, he's like, Alyssa, okay, the way that you're trying to fight for it is not going to actually heal. It's love.
Mm.
And I just look at him, I was like, who are you? Who is this? Like, what are you talking about? And now I understand.
Now
It
it makes
literally
sense.
is the
Yeah.
frequency of love. And then each of us stepping into our authentic self, because that's the highest vibration above
Yes.
love. So that's what Cocoon to Butterfly ultimately is for you to step into your authentic self.
Authentic
So
self.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so
Thank you,
grateful to have
Alyssa.
met you and honored to be on this live IG. And yeah, I just am excited to do this with you. And you're at the first one. Like, I think that's amazing too. Like, this is
Yes.
going to be first of so many. And to be able to, like, those 12 people that literally said yes, like you, without any
Yeah.
strings attached. It was like, sign me up. I want to be a part of
Yes.
it. I don't care. Like, I'm doing this. And that was my initial, like, okay, this is right. Because no one hesitated. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to be a part of this. So
Yeah,
thank you so
immediately
much.
when you messaged me, I was like, oh my God, I would be so honored. And like I said, it really resonates with what I'm doing in this world and what I'm experiencing too in my own life. So thank you. I love you so much. And like I said, everyone watching this, even if you're watching the replay later, like DM me the word butterfly if you want tickets and the special discount code for the live event. And if you want to be a part of the movement in different ways, do DM, or even if you have any questions or just want to connect, please do follow Alyssa. Her work is incredible. She is an incredible soul, and I truly mean that. And, you know, DM her. Her DMs are open as well for any questions or any other way that you would like to join the movement. Alyssa, thank you so much, and I can't wait to speak to you soon.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.